Hi, everybody. Welcome to our fifth edition of the BallerNerd.com podcast. I'm your host, Daniel, and with me today I have Ian.
What's going on?
And Nathan.
What's up?
First topic today I really want to jump into is our website goes live, and what is it now? What's the count now, Ian? 10 days?
Hold up. I'm going to pull it up right now. I should know this.
Come on, man.
9 days and 40 minutes.
9 days and 40
God.
minutes. So as of next Monday, we're ready, we're rocking and rolling, man. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and subscribe to us on YouTube. You still have a chance to get in on our contest to win your free Diablo 3. All you have to do is subscribe to us on twitch.tv, our Baller Nerd page, and our YouTube page, ballerNerd.com. You subscribe to both of those, your name's entered into a drawing. We'll draw it. You have 12 to 24 hours to claim your prize of the free Diablo. We'll get you the code. You're good. And there's your free game, so make sure you check that out. Secondly, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of the games this week. In League of Legends, the Hecarim patch finally came out. That was the demon ghost rider who looked like a centaur, but he's like a spear and did some cool stuff. That came out this past, I think it was Tuesday, I believe. And with it, brought some changes, since Riot changes the game pretty often. Ian, do you have any thoughts on this patch that came out recently?
Well, I hate Teemo, and they just buffed the crap out of him. It
fixed him, I believe.
Oh, fixed, yes. Fixed.
When you get a certain attack speed, I think his poison shot wouldn't stack or wouldn't tick, right? So
the problem is his blind is pretty hard to counter if well timed.
That's why you play the game.
Run for your life, basically.
Yeah, well, and I think they made his mushrooms a little stronger, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
I don't know. They might have.
I've seen a couple of games with the new champion Hecarim, and it definitely seems like he's pretty much the best champion to dive under towers with, as he's got his fear mechanic, and he's pretty thick. So that should be interesting. It's going to change some things. He doesn't seem to be that strong of a jungler, even fully runed and fully masteried, but perhaps people haven't figured out the route yet, and I'm thinking you're going to have to start like Golem red and then Wraith and then go to blue, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because you can spam that Q.
Yep.
But other than that, there's been some graphical improvements with the kind of like changes to the little numbers that pop up when you kill creeps. And it definitely seems like they're probably going to do some further UI improvements. I'm definitely hoping they it seems like they're taking the game in a little bit more serious direction, more towards kind of like the Han sort of quality of design. Whereas before it was kind of really just like a Warcraft 3 kind of ripoff. But so I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going with it. I wish I had a little bit better idea, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yep. They also changed like the announcer messages, so it's in all caps now. So every time you kill somebody, it's like it's screaming at you, like double kill.
Yeah, when you shut somebody down, like if they're on a streak. And I was playing a Lee Sin game the other night, and I didn't know anything had changed. Like I queued this guy, and he was almost dead, and I was running away because I was almost dead. I was like, fuck it. So I flew in, I kicked in on him and killed him. He was like, shut down, and the screen like shook, and like if I can imagine having a PS2 controller when I was little and it rumbling, I'm like, oh my god, what's happening?
They also upped the money you get from shutting down someone else's kill streak.
Did they?
You get 600 now. Yeah,
up from 5. Yeah.
I saw that happen in my bot game. It's like, whoa, since when did they get 600 gold for killing me?
Yeah, that's weird. Also, this patch, they made they made a lot of changes to people's to certain mana costs, which I think is kind of neat. I'm a Zillion player. I use him. Sometimes I play mid, but people think I'm trolling. And sometimes, but he's good mid for some certain champions.
He's okay mid.
Oh, he's fucking phenomenal sometimes. And then I play in support sometimes when I just don't want to, because when you're playing like a normal game, you solo queue 9 times out of 10 you're 4th or 5th pick. But a lot of ults were at least 150. His ult was 200 mana. His ult's the one that can put a 7-second buff on you. If you die, it'll revive you. But it was 200 mana at all ranks. So pretty much the second you hit 6, there was no way to use that ult if you had done any time bombs. And they did, change lots of these. Olds. They've been doing it over time, bringing it down from 150 to scaling amounts rather than just a straight 150. But my thoughts on the new champion, Cody. Me and Cody played 3 or 4 games this past week, and he bought him, and he played him top once. The first game he played him top, I think it was against a Shin, and he was actually doing pretty good considering it was a Shin, and it's kind of hard to push your lane and win your lane against a Shin just because he's so tanky and
he's Shin.
Yeah, so tanky in all his abilities. And I don't remember the second game who it was against. I don't think he tried to jungle him. I was actually jungling those 2 games, but he liked him for the most part. I think he had a lot of he roamed a couple times because it was Shin top, so he'd roam a couple times to mid, and we'd gank mid. We 3-man gank mid, and so we pissed that it was a Lux or something. We pissed her off real bad. Just because of the way his movement speed works, he runs really fast. So I think it's pretty cool. They also buffed they also changed some of the items pretty majorly. They nerfed the Doran's Blade and the Doran's Ring from 100 health to 80, which I agree with because people would just stack those. If you
did they do it for the? Oh, sorry, did you say Doran's Blade?
Doran's Blade and the Ring. They didn't do it for the shield because the shield's not as popular.
Yeah.
But they brought it from 100 to 80 health, and a lot of times, certain mages and certain ADs, you'll run, even some bruisers, you'll run 2 or 3 Doran's Blades on. So if you got 3 Doran's Blades, that's 60 less health you're going to have, which is pretty significant based on what part of the game you're in. And they also raised the item, the cost of Wit's End, which Cody's theory was because of Hecarim. They raised the cost of it, but I just think it's because Wit's End is such a strong item. And people get it so early. Shyvanas, Udyrs, some Skarn. Sometimes people doing Skarners. A lot of junglers and even some a lot of bruisers, they'll get Wit's End just because it's such a phenomenal item. They raise the item cost on it basically. Anything else you guys had to say in League of Legends that went on this week?
No, I'm just interested to see. They talked a while ago. This was I think a post that came up 3 or 4 months ago, and they had said they were coming out with some sort of new system whereby people could buy champions or get champions in a better way, and they didn't want to pay for it. So we're going to have some sort of system for that. So I'm really interested to see that developed, but there's been no word on it. Mm-hmm. At all, and I'm really interested. I mean, I'm a casual player as far as League goes, and I pick the higher tier champions if I'm gonna purchase a champion with RP or IP. So
yep, not me. I buy the shitty ones.
Yeah,
I buy new ones with my 10K IP. But also, in kind of like a side note. The Dota 2 is going to have a new currency system as well, though, or it's going to be free to play anyway, and how you treat the rest of your teammates kind of determines how well you get rewarded. Actually,
how does that work?
I'm guessing basically the less you rage quit, and the better other people rate you, you get pushed up or down the queue for games. So if it normally takes 3 to 6 minutes to queue for a game, if you rage quit 5 games in a row, it goes up to 15 minutes or something.
Okay.
So interesting.
So if somebody gives you a A+, doesn't mean you get more points. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Somebody gives you an F. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was kind of afraid of. If they did that, I'm like, because you know how people are, they get mad. I've done, when I'm playing a game and everybody's doing fairly good, but say the person who is the mid who just he's against the LeBlanc and he just feeds her 0-12, and he's actually trying, not actually just trolling, So I'm not mad. I'm just kind of disappointed. I'm like, well, we had a good game going, but this LeBlanc's running around killing people in one hit, or Veigar or something. Something just gets out of control when they're fed. Excuse me. But if just that poor person, if they get an F, or even if something less severe, if it was somebody, the mid gave him 3 kills earlier, gave a first blood or lagged or something, and because people are evil in this community. Speaking of people who are evil in this community, I saw a Reddit post. There was this guy who Pendragon, one of the Reds for Riot, banned this guy, and he was looking into his account. Not only did he was already banned, and the guy was complaining about his ban on the forums, trying to figure out what he really did, but he really knew. He told everybody what he did, and then permabanned his account and his Smurf. there was some guy he was like saying, he's like, oh, I play Eve every game. I just like to play the champions. And then I like to say I'm AFK so in all chat, so the team thinks I'm AFK, so I can stealth behind him and kill him and some shit like that. But apparently, Pendragon said, due to your constant AFK in nearly every game, your harassment to your team and your linking of pornographic websites saying that they were streams. I am permanently banning your account. So this guy got just owned. It was awesome. Anyway, Let's move on. Just a side bit there, a side little tidbit. In World of Warcraft this week, there's been a couple major things going on in the beta that I think are pretty neat. There was a test on a world boss this week. His name was Galleon. He looks like a big
Kodo.
Big old Kodo thunder lizard thing. I think that's interesting that they're bringing back world bosses, because a lot of people who are playing this game never really got experience with world bosses. A lot of people are Wrath of the Lich King players when it kind of exploded, and maybe some late BC players, which they did have. I think they had some world bosses in BC. Did they? You guys remember?
Yeah.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, because they had they moved. He was like right in the area when you start for. It was like Hand of Kargath or whatever. That big kind of like demon guy.
He was
Khazardan or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so you had to have a flying mount to get up there. I remember a lot of people.
I remember it was a daily hub towards the end. They removed him.
Yeah, they moved him, and then they changed because like it wasn't getting used regularly enough. And plus, there was a lot of. I think they set it up in such a way that people couldn't grief it, because I remember there being a lot of griefing for that.
Yeah.
People dragged him around and he killed people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they kited him to Kazakh or something like that. I remember you see videos where they kite him to Stormwind, and they would just destroy all the Stormwind. It's awesome. The Horde would usually do it. And you can check this out on YouTube if you're curious about that. But a lot of people have been talking. I've been seeing posts this week talking about world boss etiquette for raiding guilds who are actually trying to kill these bosses being an issue. Whereas I read some posts on the different World of Warcraft fan site, I don't remember which one it was, talking about this guy's opinions of what it is. You would let the majority of the raiding group that's kill him, let them get the first pick at the loot. Say if it's, we have raiding guild A, and they're all killing him, and then raiding guild B is there at the same time, and somehow they get confused on who started it and who pulled him. They'll get but they were there, so they're talking about something about the loot, and this dates back to the classic WoW with the world dragons, and then also they brought up don't grieve respect the other guild that they're doing it, but then obviously if they die, you'll get your shot. Don't actually try to throw them. And then I think the last tidbit on that was funny. It said if any of these rules that he listed are broken, gloves are off, and it's just all out melee, and it gets nuts. Which I've been in some of those. I've never been. I was in a world dragon kill once. It was the one in Darkshire. I think that's what this area is, and that was awesome. You go up this little slope, like a little slalom mountain, and not a mountain, a hill, and then you go down into the area of the big pit, like the big crater area in the middle where that portal was. And there was a couple horde guys there, like 3 or 4, and they were just random. We didn't see them in a guild, and there was almost 40 of us at this point. We ran all the way from Darkshire, so we just smoked these guys because they're in Darkshire, and there's a PvP server, so we just smoked them. And I think then we start to pull it, and this is then
they all came back,
and random horde members just start rolling in. And at first there's only a couple, like 3 or 4 at a time. They're not playing very smart, and we just turn. And I was playing a hunter, so I'm like, whatever, I'll kill these guys. I'm like, oh, PvP, because I was like 15. So I'm just we're killing those guys as they come in, and then we just get bum rushed by a bunch of horde. They wipe us, and then we die. And we all spawn, group up, buff up, do all that stuff, run back in, kill all of them while they're doing it. So it was just a massacre, which I thought was personally
so fun. Many bodies.
Yes. Also, there was apparently the last of the annual pass beta invites went out the other day. I think it was 400,000 of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So I guess I don't know. I haven't kept a count of how many that is, but well over 1 million, I'm sure. annual pass invites went out, which I guess if everybody got theirs, I guess that's good. If not, well, Blizzard's gonna have some hell to pay. But I'm sure their PR group made sure everybody got theirs, or they were compensated.
But this just means that the WoW server is gonna be as busy as the Diablo 3 servers right now.
Yep.
Basically.
Pretty much. That's a lot of people. But they do have a very large server, so they're probably trying to test them and test a lot of the mechanics. A lot of the things aren't implemented yet. A lot of the abilities. Some of the monk ones, even some of the glyph changes that they put in weren't implemented yet. Even things as minor as there was a minor glyph that makes your paladin mount glow when you have it on, the glyph, and that's not even implemented. Just for example, some small things. Also, Blizzard's doing the battle tag system, which if you haven't heard, it's basically it's a username based real ID, I guess is the way to put it. So instead of me being Daniel and people can see my name and my last name, my first name, and then they creep on me on Facebook and find my picture and then add me, and then if I don't add them, they're like, "Why add me?" And
I thought we were friends.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no privacy on that one. If you get on, then for me, I was a raid leader, and sometimes I just want to get on and play by myself. So every time I get on, some people want to play, some people want to talk.
Mostly me.
I'm like, no, you're okay most of the time. Most of the time. And I get on, I'm like, no, I just leave me alone, please. But it's supposed to have a little bit more privacy on it, and you're associated with a number. You sign up for a battle tag name, a number. And I think they're implementing it a little bit as they go. I'm sure by the time Diablo 3 gets here, it'll be probably in full effect, because it's going to be like the real idea where you can see it through all Blizzard's platforms. Also, they keep coming out with keep releasing different pet battles abilities. That's the Blizzard Pokemon game that's coming out. Have you read any of that, Ian, or any of?
Yeah, there's been a lot of kind of like it seems like the shift in the target audience for people, or at least for that game, has gone to just kind of this like kind of like 17-year-old and younger, which is kind of strange considering that World of Warcraft has been so successful with actually like older generation, like 17 and up, even through I guess kind of like mid-30s. It doesn't seem to me like there'd be a whole lot of people like interested in content like that, and that they would go to such an extent to produce it, not like spend quite a bit of money producing it, obviously, because it's Blizzard. It just seems kind of silly and strange to me. But
hey, this is Pandaria. Its entire expansion pack's silly.
Yeah,
so I guess it's only a few steps further.
I don't know. I think it's not. I don't know. I just don't think it's the direction the game should be going. Just given.
I think it's just like it would be another thing to do instead of like daily quests and whatnot. So they just want to. I think they're just trying to keep as many people playing. I know, just trying to keep as many people playing as possible. Like, I want to get my Pokemon on.
That's probably what it is, realistically. It's just something new, which I agree with. It didn't necessarily have to be this, but something new, because I'm tired of getting on, and this is how it works. The expansion comes out, boom, everybody levels. You go crazy, you level, you're good. Me, usually I level too fast. I wait for everybody to catch up, which is awful. I really don't queue for any heroics, because chances are nobody else has any idea what the hell's going on. Nobody else has the gear for it. And there's 7 people on the server trying to queue at that point. So I'll farm whatever. My main guy has a blacksmith. I'm a warrior, so I make my own gear when I first start. So I usually farm up to make the crafted shield that always comes out, or the crafted helm or chest or whatever. So that's what I spend my time doing. And then you start doing the raids. And the raids get cool. And then you do the daily quests here and there, like the Tolbarad was this expansion. You do that, get your stuff. I got my little trinket, and then the next patch came out, and it was daily quest, or the next raid patch came out, and it was more daily quests. So I did the daily quests, and then daily quests, and then daily quests. I'm tired of doing daily quests, no matter what game it is. It could be there's daily quests in Star Wars: The Old Republic where you have to fly around on your ship. And there's other ones, and I don't. The hell with it. I don't want to do daily quests anymore. So anything different, I will do. If I had to play a game where I make cupcakes and send them off to people and run around and give them to people, I will do that. I'd rather do holiday events than daily quests any day. It's the same thing.
It seems like they kind of lack this kind of like dynamic variety that something like a Skyrim game.
Yep. Well, my problem is it's not anything new. You did all these quests from 1 to 85. I typically level through quests, so I do a whole lot of quests. And then once I get to 85, yo, dog, I heard you like quests, so I gave you some quests, so you can have some quests while you do your quests.
In your quest.
So it just really gets old. I'm sorry to stress about it, but that's how much I just do not like doing them, because it's the exact same thing. And not only that, but you do the same thing every day. Like the Molted Front dailies, there was like a selection of 5. You do like 3 of 5 or whatever.
Yeah, I remember
Sometimes
that.
you get the bad ones that you didn't like to do, and you're like, oh, or like the ones that they did change a lot of it where the mobs are open. They're not like you can't tag, you can't run around and tag them all and then get the credit for all of them, which I'm a fan of. It's just good design by Blizzard. Props to you. But some of the ones weren't like that. I'm like, oh god, like the ones where you had to kill the cats, like the little fire cats. I'm like, oh god, you can't kill people running around tagging them. Oh, I hate you so much right
now. Yeah. Especially when it was great when you were a warlock though, because you could just tag a bunch of things.
Now we got a holy paladin.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk about Diablo 3 a little bit. This weekend is the open beta, so if you haven't yet, sign up, get your beta client. You can play from now until I think 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday. That'd be the 23rd. Right? Yeah, 23rd.
Yep, that's correct.
Just a tip, though, you might want to download it over the night, because if you do it during the day, you'll have competition with tons of other people, basically.
Yep.
Because, my brother did it earlier yesterday morning, and he hasn't been able to fully update it since there's been like so many people doing it all at once.
Yep.
It's like a giant choke. Yeah.
You would think since there's been so many, since the beta's been out for, what day did the beta come out? Do you know, Ian?
Oh, well, I don't know, because they've been
a long time ago,
like closed several closed betas, and then a number of people have been in those for a while, and then that's when they lifted the NDA.
Well, I'm saying active post NDA. That's what I was asking. But all I'm saying is, it's been for a long time. So you would think that Blizzard had already sent out a lot of the Diablo 3 invites. So it wouldn't be there'd be a small handful, probably a large amount of people, but not an ungodly amount of people. Like such as myself, I never got a beta invite. Nobody loved me, so I had to do it myself.
It definitely seems like I got on last night too. So a couple things about that. The servers were definitely not holding up to what I guess Blizzard was expecting, because they were just crushed by the number of people that were trying to get in. I jumped games maybe 40 times just to see what exactly would happen between like people picking different characters and I guess kind of like server issues. And well, first let's talk about I guess like the character selection that I was seeing. It's definitely seemed like the most popular characters by far was the monk, and then it was followed by barbarian, and I saw very, very little witch doctors. I saw like 3 witch doctors and 1 demon hunter, and I jumped literally 40 different games, and there was like 3 monks every game, and barbarian to change it, or a witch doctor, or just that one time there was a demon hunter. So if you're into playing hipster classes, it definitely seems like monk is not the way to go. That also means that playing if you're going to play the econ game, monk items are going to be very high demand. And
pro tip: don't play monk, get monk items, sell monk items, profit.
Yeah,
I think it's also maybe just because like people want to try it out as quick as possible, and monk is more of like a solo-ish class, I guess.
I would say the witch doctor is probably the best solo class.
Yeah, but witch doctor is boring.
It's not that boring. It's just like the necro. You kind of just like run in a room with 20 skeletons, just
Which you know all too well, don't you?
Maybe. Maybe.
Hey,
I kept you guys alive.
actually, no. they pretty died quite a fair amount the last half hour or so, falling left and right.
Well, that's because I didn't up masteries after that, but it's okay. When we play Sunday, we'll fix that.
All right, I gotta go eat, and sorry guys, but bye. Yeah, my bad.
No worries.
Later.
But for Diablo 3, I think what was I gonna mention? I think maybe it's part of the monk class that's the big explosion of the popularity that you saw personally. Might be deal with Mr. Pandaria, because I mean they're releasing a monk there and a monk here, so it's like the flavor of the effect. The quarter is monk.
Yeah, they're also doing this that little contest on the Blizzard website where it's kind of like, oh, this is the class of the week, so more people might have encountered that information right up front, and they're just like, oh, I want to try that. So it could be that. But and I've read a number of forum topics that say that people think the Barbarian's going to be the most common because of the fact that it was from it's kind of like a legacy character. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I definitely am going to try to pick something that's least played because I want to be able to make a little bit more money. And if I see an item that I want, I'm definitely going to use it. And so I'd rather pick a character where if I can get a little bit more for it, I'm gonna definitely try to get a little more for it.
I agree. I'm kind of the same way. We mentioned about Necros and Diablo 2 and all that jazz came up. Sunday nights, probably 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific. We started last week. We went into Diablo. My headset fell off my head. Got it. We went into Diablo 1 and do a full playthrough of that, but people were having issues getting the game client and getting into the games, and so we just kind of scrapped it and we moved on to Diablo 2 since that's Old Faithful, which people still had issues somehow. My girlfriend's computer, for some reason, it wouldn't load the game unless it was windowed, which sucks because I'm sitting there, clicking around, and I click outside of the window and it pops up. I clicked on, Microsoft Office, and it just popped up Office, and I died. I think it was in a cow level or something. Anyway, but there's probably 4 or 5 of us going this Sunday night. When I'm playing a Barbarian, Ian's playing a Necromancer. I believe Cody's playing a
Amazon.
We have another friend of ours, Brett. He's playing a Paladin, and I think Zach
is a wizard.
Play sorcerers. So we have a pretty good mix of the classes, and I think actually what we can do is we can have people upgrade to their expansion, because you can upgrade characters to expansions. You can convert them. So we can actually have people, if they wanted to play druids and assassins, and the expansion is so much better because your talents synergize with each other.
Yeah,
which is cool. Anyway, so check that out. That's going to be lots of fun. We're going to be doing that. We'll probably stream for a couple hours. We started Act 3. We're probably going to make it all the way, probably through the end of the game, maybe through maybe through just Diablo. I don't know. We'll see. Peter's not here today, and Nathan just took off, so we don't really have much StarCraft 2 news. Ian, do you have anything that you've looked at this week? I know you've played it a little bit. You've dabbled in it.
Well, just it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot coming up for just StarCraft. It definitely seems like there's a little bit more information kind of like popping up around the net about Heart of the Swarm. So my thought is that, with Blizzard's release strategy, we're going to see Heart of the Swarm. There's going to be another kind of like everything will pick back up to the kind of like pre-StarCraft 2 hype, and a couple. It was about a year, I think, following that. It was really big. It kind of fell off a little bit, and I think that this is going to push it to kind of like a new height. And then again, that's going to happen with the final Protoss expansion. Mm-hmm. So really, I think they're kind of priming the pump, so to speak, to really make StarCraft much bigger than it ever was. And so I'm more interested in that dynamic, and I've been kind of looking at that recently. And so I don't know. We're set to see kind of like what esports is going to do and some of these other things, because there's already people that are making their money off of that. Day9, some of these other characters on the internet, and that's it's quite impressive. So I would like to see more of that. I definitely think there's a market for it. So
yep,
that's about all I have for StarCraft.
Comment on Blizzard's release strategy. I thought that was the one where if they release a major game, you drop a major content patch. I thought that's what it was, right? Like Rift comes out, and boom, you hit them with this. And Star Wars: The Old Republic comes out, and that came out in December. So that was Dragon Soul. Dragon Soul came out around the time of Star Wars: The Old Republic, which didn't really help that much for me, at least. But so that's their. It's not a bad marketing strategy. This major game comes out, you're expecting to lose some people, maybe possibly temporarily, which typically, historically, has been temporarily. They go, Ion comes out. People play Ion for 3 weeks. They're like, okay, this is awful. Let's go back to Old Faithful. Let's go back to WoW. And I'm sure people did it for other games. I'm sure people did it for StarCrafts and Diablos. But yeah, I know there's going to be lots of StarCraft 2 information coming out for the next expansions. And I'm sure there will be a surge in popularity. But you got to keep in mind, there's no BlizzCon this year. So it's kind of a random tidbit. But they're doing the BlizzCons every other year now, I believe. So they
that seems smarter to me, though, because it seems like they were kind of like spending a little bit more of they were actually spending a little bit more on their production budgets to kind of like get a little more content ready for BlizzCon, so they could kind of sell that. And they weren't making money from the BlizzCons. It's just, I think that they realized they could make a little bit more money if they just kind of like focus directly on the game itself. And then
nowadays, every decision behind Blizzard's usually about the dollar.
Yeah, which it can't be good though, because you look at what how they're innovating with the Diablo 3 auction house, and that's just incredible. This is the way games need to go if they're going to be this kind of like no longer paying for a subscription sort of thing.
If it was a subscription-based game going to a non-subscription-based like Ions and DCUOs and other games like that, I agree, that's cool. But you still buy Diablo, and Diablo 2 was free. But this is a good little mini game, extra thing, added thing for certain people. But we'll talk about more of that later. So let's move on to the miscellaneous games we have this week. This is just some of the random ones that we've been playing. I played Amnesia Tuesday night. The stream was lagging quite a bit. I was having an issue with XSplit. I fixed it temporarily, and then it went right back. But long story short, a lot of Tuesday night was puzzles. Excuse me for a second. I'm sorry. A lot of Tuesday night.
You said excuse me before you like.
Oh, excuse me, because I'm about to sneeze. Sorry. We had it was a lot of puzzles. I went to one room and I had to run around and turn these levers to fill this tank with water. I heard a voice in the area, and the more water I filled, the less I heard the voice. So apparently I drowned somebody. And then I had to go into this morgue where there was this. I had to get vaccinated for this poisonous fungi in the sewers, and the only way to do it, the people who had been vaccinated, their blood could be used as a vaccine. So I had to stab some guy in the head with a copper tube, and then plug a surgical needle into it, and then stab myself with it, which was weird. And then the second I did that, this big monster started beating down the door, so I had to hide, and everything went creepy, and I panicked, and my character panicked, and I kind of panicked too, maybe a little bit. And that's all that really happened. I got down in the sewers. By the time that happened, that was pretty much, my stream was over with. But this Tuesday I'll have it fixed, and we'll be going down. We're getting crazy. Also, on Tuesdays, I believe, the date's not final, but my stream starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central. Cody's going to be streaming the new Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I think that's Counter-Strike Go beta.
Yeah, it's Geo.
Yeah, I know that is Geo. I should know, the Global Offensive, Global Operation, whatever. And he's going to be streaming that roughly 2 hours before me. So Tuesday is going to be get your ball and nerd stream day in. For as of right now, he's going to be playing that. He's been playing it a little bit. He finally figured out how to stream it. And Counter-Strike's been a popular game for years, with the 1.6 and the source and all the mods that, Half-Life 2 has made. Just that platform that Valve has done has been very successful. So I think it's going to be an exciting time to come. Also, keeping with the shooting game aspect, I know Zach was in it. He was streaming a little bit yesterday. I watched it for a little bit.
Kevin's also in it, the Firefall beta, and so basically the Firefall beta, if you haven't heard about the game, the game itself is basically a first-person shooter that is kind of like an MMO. I don't know if you played Borderlands, it's kind of like an MMO Borderlands where there's a huge variety of guns, armor, but they're kind of like guild requirements, and you can kind of explore the world and and mine the world, and you're kind of like constantly fighting against these forces that are both invading the planet and these forces that are kind of like enveloping the planet in this kind of global take. It's kind of like the Mist from. There was a GameCube game. It was like Final Fantasy, like Crystal Chronicles, and you had to like move this like little lantern to like get the mist away. It's much like that, except you kind of like set.
Except what? I think he cut out of my
single world.
Okay, there he is.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now. You cut out for a second.
Okay, so as everyone is exploring the world, the world actually grows, which is a pretty unique system, and there's a lot of PvP combat. It's an MMO, so there's thousands of players. It's a pretty beautiful game too, very unique, and it's free to play. It's got a free to play model that is pretty unique because I think they're actually taking advertisements from like real world advertisements and putting them into the game
really?
to kind of like offset some of the cost. Yeah, and so that should be pretty cool.
Buy Johnson & Johnson's baby oil, wax that ass while you.
Yeah, or just like probably like Mountain Dew or something.
Yeah,
something ridiculous, Monster. But so we'll be streaming that probably on our off days. You can also check out the VODs either on YouTube or on our Twitch page. But that's pretty much all I've got for Firefall.
Yep. There's been a little bit of a Halo 4 information that's come out on the web, and I think what kind of information has been coming out? Has been pictures? Has been
there's been a couple leaked photos of kind of like the some of those things up there. I know IGN and Kotaku and some of these other guys have the screenshots posted with a little bit of commentary about the changes from the previous Halo universe. But really, like it's all speculation. I'm actually kind of disappointed that they're releasing Halo 4 on this console. I was expecting it to be a launch title for the upcoming Xbox, but we'll see what they really decide to do with that. I mean, it definitely seems like it would be a good place to showcase their new technology, but and it also push the Xbox console. But we'll see. So
I was a big fan of a lot of the Halo games. I don't think I played a lot of 2. I played some 3. I played Reach. I played a lot of Reach. I like that one. So we'll see where this one goes. I know Bungie, like Halo Reach was Bungie's last thing, right? Or is Bungie still doing 4?
I think they've had their hand in it. Bungie is definitely not doing 4.
Yeah, I know because at the end of it, they had a little message right at the end of the game, thanking everybody for this great experience that they've had with the Halo game universe, which I thought was a really good way to go. I don't know the whole situation behind, Big Brother, Little Brother marketing. I don't know a lot of that. I don't know how to get into it.
It was just cheaper to get a new game studio. Yeah. Basically, what they've done is like created an entirely new game studio, hiring a bunch of no names.
Yep.
Well, there's some. I think the project director and some of these other things are relatively well known, but everybody else is kind of new. And the reason being is because it is such a large title and such a famous title. Microsoft doesn't want to have to pay as much money to the same studio. So
yeah.
I mean, it's clever. It sucks for the guys that were already working on it. But,
and it may be a creative development issue. Maybe some of the guys from Bungie wanted to go a different way, whereas it wasn't as lucrative for Microsoft, or maybe I don't know. It could be. You never know what goes on behind the closed doors of big boy Microsoft. That's pretty much it for the miscellaneous games. I know Nathan was playing some of the Tribes
beta,
and I know I've been doing the Amnesia, and I think hadn't been too much going on with the miscellaneous games this week. So I think that's pretty much it for that. Anything you have about any of the games we just talked about, Ian? Any little last parts?
No. One of the games I'm actually looking at, well, 2 of the games I'm looking at are some of the PlanetSide 2 kind of like screenshots and stuff like that. That game visually it's like the Battlefield 2 or Battlefield 3 of kind of like space fighting. And so very, very interested in where that game's going to go. If the gameplay itself is actually going to be very good, because that'd be a lot of fun. And then also, I know that Eve is pumping out a lot more information about Dust 514 and this kind of like player interaction with the people playing the game, and that looks like a very, very unique system.
Yep.
very worth looking into, at least just to kind of like, get the idea for what's going on. It might even entice me to jump back into Eve. We'll see though. Haven't quite gotten to that point yet.
Maybe it might even get new players like me. I've actually never played Eve. Every time when people have talked about me wanting to play Eve, I've always had something bigger and better going on. I've been, raiding 3-4 days a week on WoW, or playing Diablo 2, or had my hand in Mass Effect, which I've been playing lots of. Not this week necessarily, but
yeah. Well,
early this week I played lots of Mass Effect.
I haven't beaten Mass Effect yet, so I'm very close on Mass Effect 1. I have Mass Effect 2, and I'll get Mass Effect 3, I'm sure, as soon as I beat Mass Effect
2. Oh, yeah, you will.
2.
You have no choice. But this is part of your body that's going to want to. I think I played Mass Effect 2 for 13 hours Monday night, I think, 12, 13.
Wow.
I just get lost in the gameplay. I like the way the game works. I'm trying to, all my games I've played, when I played 1, 2, and 3, I played through 2 twice that time, and I played Infiltrators all 3 times. That's the one where you have the tactical cloak. You have cryo ammo. You have your sniper rifle based. You get I think in the second one you get a sniper rifle, which restricts your weapons. You get a sniper rifle. You get a pistol, a submachine gun, and I think that's it. You might get a shotgun. But most of the time I'm just running around. I get everything that's headshot damage and just take the bosses and hit them in the head 3 times. So that was just my style of playing, which I got really used to. And in 3, it just got so much better. But this time I've been going through number 2, and I've been playing a Vanguard, which is you're biotic, but you're kind of I pretty much have this thing. I have a biotic charge. I fly in on them, and I have the heavy claymore shotgun that only Krogans normally use. Yeah. And I blink right. I fly right in on them and right in the face. That's all I do.
See, I'm playing right now. I guess like a soldier class. Mm-hmm. I can't remember the
soldier's the name.
Upgrade, but basically all I do is like have heavy armor, just run in there with a shotgun, just like point blank, drop people, just go in the next area. So.
I did that one for a little bit. I was like, I'll try something else. I haven't tried the Adept or I think there's an engineer in some of the games. Just a tech person, basically. I'm a lot of biotics and the heavy weapon damage, but it doesn't really matter to me. I can do whatever because I'm not the kind of guy who uses the same crew the whole game, the whole time. I'm not.
No. See, I'm definitely I hate Ashley. She just died. Just killed her as soon as I could. And so I went Kaldan and just because if you his backstory is really pretty cool and he's like a badass. Yep. So I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Who's your party in Mass Effect 1? If you're towards the end, you have everybody unlocked.
I usually use Kaldan and Garrus, just because when I have been playing through at least this first time, I'm definitely trying to do a playthrough that I'm making decisions that I think would be rational and logical, and decisions that I would actually make. So that means I've had to kill a few people, or this, that, and the other thing. So I keep Kaldan because he definitely seems like he's got a history already with Shepard, and then Garrus definitely seems like he's someone that's more trustworthy.
Garrus is a phenomenal character. BioWare knocked it out of the park with Garrus. He's there through all the games. He does not change. Have you unlocked him in Mass Effect 2 yet?
No, I mean that's the thing.
He's gonna blow your mind. Just so you know. Yeah. It's gonna blow your mind.
So, I mean, he's a very, very dynamic character, and so that's why I kind of keep my parties the same, because these other characters, while they're important and they have good backstories, I mean, Rex is basically this kind of heir to this kind of dynasty of Krogan warriors, and that's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I don't really know that I don't know that I can trust him. So why would I choose to keep this guy around? Yeah, he's pretty powerful. He can just run in there and just eat all this damage. But at the same time,
that's what your class does. Your soldier.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I agree with that. If you're trying to play for a balanced play, and you could use Kaiden or Liara. Liara is another character that's pretty good. The way she's developed through the entire game, all the way to the third one, is she's a very popular character. And Tali is also a very popular character. Tali is one of my favorite characters. Tali and Liara are my 2 favorite female characters. Male characters, I like them all, really. Except the DLC guy, what's his name?
Is there a DLC in the first game?
No. Well, there is, I think, but there's not a character. Zaid, he's a mercenary in the second one, and I was doing a good guy playthrough, and he was an asshole, so I killed him. I left him to die, I think, something like that. But there's also the DLC in the second one. There's the thief. Her name is Kasumi, and I never bought her, but I bought it recently. She's a pretty cool character too. She's kind of limited because she's a DLC, but she's pretty cool. Anyway, that's pretty much it for our 5th weekly podcast. Ian, do you have anything to say about the website? We got 9 days, man.
9 days. We're gonna hit you guys. This is just a little preview for those of you that watch the podcast. We are going to kind of like the first information really available is going to be a little bit more information about ourselves, so you get to know us and what our community goals are, and that's what we want. Just build a strong gaming community and talk about games and have fun. So
I agree. Thanks everybody for tuning in, listening in. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube and Twitch TV. Be sure to check out our contest video. Win yourself a free Diablo 3. It's really easy. Just subscribe to YouTube and Twitch and win a Diablo 3. Just do it right now. Go. I'm your host, Daniel, and with me, I'd like to thank Ian.
Yo.
And Nathan was here for a little bit, and from the ballandnerd.com crew, I would like to say thank you, and we'll see you next